Welcome to day 4 of this week of webisodes, and we are full on into Christmas today with new embossing folders and new stencils.
We have snowmen, we have reindeer, trees, but really we have lots of techniques. Can't wait to show you everything we've done with these.
And that's what's so exciting. Come play with us. Well, here is what's new.
Beautiful.
And as I said, lots of Christmas.
Right. We have embossing folders. We have playful snowmen. I love that look.
And aren't they?
Aren't they? And hanging ornaments. And we have 6x6 stencils. We have a swirly Christmas tree, a flying Santa, and holly tapestry. So you've got overall, you've got focals, you got lots to play with.
Right. We're going to start with the embossing folders, and we're going to start with our snowmen.
Our playful snowmen. And this measures about 4 inches by 6 inches.
Right. 4 1/8. Move your hand. I can see it right there. Okay. 4 1/8 by 5 7/8.
And this is wonderful because you've got these 3 elements which you could actually cut apart if you wanted to after you emboss them, and you've got all of this falling down. That's just such a beautiful look.
And because it's hot off the press, you have an idea on the back, and if you would like a closer look, here is that exact same card, and just really you get the idea of the playful snowman. They're having a great time.
Right. And this is really simple to accomplish, and I love that you've got, first of all, you've got this blue cardstock in the background. That was embossed, and then this white cardstock, which was also embossed, and the edges were torn. And we've got 2 different stamp pads used. One was this distress ink. This is Stormy Sky Distress Ink, and the other one was a white StazOn. So on the top you've got white StazOn brushed over the snowflakes, and this the Stormy Sky brushed over the snowman. I've got that here.
Okay.
So if you do the entire thing, you're not going to use this whole thing. You're going to tear it off right above those snowmen because you can see them embossed there, and I can feel that raised image. And you just take your distress ink pad and you go directly on there. Now, depending on kind of how juicy this is, or if this isn't, no, this is pretty good. You don't want to press too hard. You just kind of want to lightly brush across those snowmen.
Yeah, just swipe it.
Right, just getting the tops. And it'll go a little bit within the body of the snowman because it's kind of a big area, but it's all right. It adds distressing. So just do it so you can just lightly hit them, and that's the look that you get with just the snowman.
How easy is that?
Super simple.
And there you have it. Now, as you said, tearing across. I don't know that I've seen that technique done before, but it's a great way to get the sky and the snowmen together. And I do have to say, you see all those little red hearts? Well, those are red heart dazzles. And 358 come in a pack, so that will certainly take care of you, and you can see all the different sizes.
I love that it fits right within that one little heart that's on that end.
I like the buttons on
there.
The snowman.
That's pretty cute.
And certainly hearts and snowflakes, that's going to work for you. And this particular card doesn't have an inside done, but you can see the little message here, so that could be happy birthday, it could be Christmas greetings.
And I think that might be from Tiny Words and Phrases, Dazzles, but I'm not quite sure. But anyway, just nice little smile right there, which makes you smile when you see that. So
does.
That's simple.
Very playful, very fun. Here is another version. Now this is on one sheet of cardstock.
And then it was colored in with chalks. So just a basic chalk set, and you're just going to rub around with your little, the little ball, the little cotton piece that goes on the end, and it's just great. You can do some shading in there, and then you can add some Stickles to get a little bit of sparkle too.
Of course you can. So there's blue and all sorts in there.
So that's just a fun little activity, just coloring in the little snowman.
The Let It Snow is from the Tiny Christmas Words Dazzles. So, you know, we've got the words for you and those accents.
So I noticed so far it's like you want to use the smaller words because you don't want to take away from that great focal. It's a lot of fun that way. And I love the shading. So if you want to shade those snowmen, go on the left side, go on the right side a little bit. It makes it look round when you do that. So that's kind of a fun idea.
Now this is a very different look, and I have to tell you, it's smooth. It has not been embossed.
It has not been embossed because this is one of those cases when you can use your embossing folder as a stamper. as a stamp.
Right, very interesting.
And it's really simple. So I have here the cardstock that I'm going to use. I have the embossing folder, and I'm going to be working with the silk screened side. That is the black image side. So when I open it, wait, I'm wrong. Think, Gail. No, I'm going to work with the non-silk screen side.
The raised side.
The raised side. So when I feel it, I can feel the image. I can see the image of the snowman. And that's the side that I'm going to be stamping with. So you're actually going to get a reverse image.
Right.
And I've got my cardstock. I'll put that up here. I'm actually going to put that on the left side. It kind of works well if you get it ready by setting it within your embossing folder, but sort of keeping it off to the left. I've got an aqua pen. These are the Spectrum aqua pens. It comes in a set of 12. This is the primary set. There are several different sets. I have lots of great colors. And I've got this dark navy. Now they're water-based pens, and so if you spritz them with water, they're going to react to that. And I'm going to start with the big end, which I think is this one, the brush tip end, and I'm just going to brush along the tops of those raised edges.
So holding the pen on its side.
Right, just brushing along the edges like that, and I won't do the whole thing, but even if you get in between, it might stamp a little bit of that, but it's not going to ruin the image of what we're trying to accomplish here. Just go across it, and I do the whole thing. I'm not real worried about it drying out, because after I brush the whole thing.
Wait a second. Will you keep doing that and listen for the noise? I hope you can hear that. The pen is actually rubbing on the embossing folder. Right. And so you're just holding it at an angle.
Right.
It's kind of magic as you're doing that.
It wouldn't, it would take forever. Don't do that. Just lay it down. You've got that nice.
See, I was afraid you were going to do that, and I thought, it's going to take forever, Gail. What are you thinking?
Well, it's sometimes we can have a 2-hour webisode.
No, we're
I don't
not.
think so. We're not going to do that. But once you have it, I want to make sure that I have all of the edges. It's okay if it gets a little dry, because, then I'm going to spritz it just a little bit. What I recall about this, I am going to move that for a second, is that I stayed about 12 inches away because I didn't want big drops. I just kind of want a little bit.
Just reactivating it.
Right. Okay. And then I'm going to place it in there and fold that over.
And again, no machine.
No machine, just using my hands. I'm going to make sure that I press it, I'm rubbing it, make sure that it gets an imprint on there. You might do this a couple of times till you get the one that you like. They'll all be a little bit different. And then when you open it up, so you might have spritzed it a little bit more, and then if you spritz it again, it sort of helps to reactivate it a little bit.
Bring that over.
Yeah, spritz it a little bit more and it reacts. Over time, it will keep spreading and give you a little bit more of an imprint. I realize that that doesn't look like what I did on there, but I may have gotten a little bit more ink on and spritzed a little bit more water. It does have different effects. Darn it, I wish I would have looked just like that, but it does. I did it, obviously. I didn't do anything different than that, I swear.
It wasn't on camera, but when you first revealed this, it was much lighter than what it is right now.
Right.
So when you're not doing it on camera.
Here, let me just spritz it. There we go.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, now you're seeing the blue. So spritz it a little bit more. There.
Very good.
Now it looks much more like what you were getting there.
I'm a big fan of when magic occurs. Like that.
Sometimes you have to take time to let the magic work.
And Winter Wonderland is again of those same Christmas dazzles, and this has also been backed on the black suede just to give more definition. It's just such a saturated color that it works really well. Mm-hmm. And it also, there is a thin, do you see the shine that I'm getting? That is just a thin border of the silver snowflakes holographic paper. So
right, it really helps it to pop. And it was fun. You can also use those aqua pens after it dries completely to color in those red areas. If you did it when it was wet, it would spread throughout the paper.
Okay, good tip.
Okay,
and I have one more, and this is on shiny paper, on glossy paper.
It's on glossy cardstock, so there's a couple of different things going on there. First, the background was created, and then it was embossed, and the top was brushed with ink pads, and I can show you real quickly how that was done.
Okay,
so
bring it on.
Okay, I've got my, oops, I'm trying to get my little note off here. I've got my glossy cardstock, and I've got a set of the mini Distress ink pads. check on the gallery to see which number it is. And I've got the pink and the blue. Those are the ones that I use, so I'll put those aside. And I start by getting this pretty wet. I'm really going to spritz. I know it's glossy cardstock, so it doesn't really absorb a lot, but that will sit on the top of there, create nice puddles, and then I'm going to start brushing it with my Distress
This is what
ink
you meant by
pad.
creating the background.
Right. So I've just got this. I'm just brushing it around on there
We
like
have a pink
so.
sky, and we
then,
have a light blue.
Yeah, it's kind of a gray blue, which is a little bit, I thought a little bit snowy shadows when I was thinking of it. You put that on there, and you can even spritz it a little bit more. That will give you a little bit of the dots that you're seeing, okay? Then you let that dry. Once it's completely dry, then it will look something like that. And I went ahead and embossed it. And after it's embossed, you're going to swipe it with 2 different Surfaces ink pads. I have Berry and Dolphin. And I did that because...
So they're similar to the colors that you just used.
They are, but I'm going to use them on top of each other because it sort of gives me that sort of a violet color or whatever that you're seeing. I'm going to try to just stay off the table and just do it in the center here and maybe up there. And then I go to the Berry, because now you can see that it just sort of looks blue. And these are really tight lids on the Surfaces ink pads. I know they're tight, but it's that way for a reason.
So they won't dry out.
So that they won't dry out. There we go. And then I go over it with the pink, and it makes sort of a violet color. It really matches nicely.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so here's the finished one. And you did some stamping with Think Snow, it looks like.
Right. That was with the small ice skate stamp.
Oh, I
believe
see.
it. I just really liked that sentiment on there.
Another fun thing that's been done, we'll back up just a smidge, and you can see that this piece, so the piece that Gail did, was actually cut. So the snowflakes are matted separately from the snowman.
Right. And,
nice little piece.
And when I did it, I made the piece a little bit bigger. So here's this open area. So I was able to cut that out and stamp on it down here. So you can use it for your embellishments.
Excellent. Have it the same color. And you did finish the inside of this one. Oh, sweet. That one little guy. Very, very cute. Nice to have that area open. And there are some rhinestones in the center of the snowflakes. So that gives a little bit of shine and shimmer to your card. Just happy guys, very happy.
Playful snowmen, very sweet.
This is what I meant when we started off when we talked about techniques, because I think that embossing folders and stencils sometimes don't get the respect that they deserve.
No, you're right. You think, okay, I'm going to open that in, I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to put it through the embossing machine, and that's it. But really, there's so many different things you can do with it.
There are so many things, and to show you, we're going to go on with our hanging ornaments.
And this it's beautiful because it's got this border here. It gives you an area to do something with down in this corner.
And this also is going to have a project in the back. Very pretty with the pastel look, but we're going full on with bright Christmas colors right now.
And so we're using holographic papers. You're seeing ripple and green circles, and I think that's a gold ripple.
It is, and yet what our background is just simply cardstock.
Right, black cardstock with silver metallic stays-on rubbed across that embossed surface.
Going over
so the whole thing was done. Behind each one of these ornaments, there is that embossed ornament in black cardstock, but it was done again on red, green, and gold like this. So here's that embossed piece, red, green, and gold. All I'm interested for this piece in is this ornament here.
And this is on the red ripple holographic.
This is on the red ripple. I've got a sanding block, and off we go. When you rub on the top of these holographic papers, it takes just the top off, and you get down to kind of a silvery silver. It takes the color off of the silver, so it's that simple to get something like that. And then cut that out individually and place it on top of your card.
So there it is, and like you said, the green circles and the the gold ripple is used on the star, also used as a mat. So all three of those colors. Now, just a hint, those papers are sold individually, but there's also a collection of them in Paper Wishes where you're going to save a bit. So that's nice if you like all the looks.
And they go a long ways. You can use it on the edges. This was completely covered first, or you could just use it in strips and then use it for embellishments because it gives such a nice pop.
Right. Now here is a totally different look, and that's what I love about both the embossing folders and the stencils is you can get so many looks. And this is done with looks like
Stickles.
Stickles, yeah.
And Perfect Pearls.
And Perfect Pearls.
And I'll show you the Perfect Pearls part, but you see the Stickles. That's been done down into the embedded part, the de-embossed, debossed part of the ornaments. You can see the Stickles in there. So it was on a dark blue cardstock. Mine wasn't quite as dark blue, but you can see the Stickles. You just place that, you just put a little dab of Stickles in with the small tip on the Stickles container.
Okay,
there.
and I'm sure you're aware of Stickles. It's a glitter glue, so it's going to stick itself. And you're just drawing in each one, and then use the tip to kind of spread it around.
Sort of move it around. Yeah, it's no
Okay.
problem. If it gets a little too small, you can use a toothpick or something to sort of move it around if you want to in some of those smaller areas. But once that's done in each of the ornaments, and Susan also did it in the little depression that goes in between those two there.
In that frame.
Right.
Okay.
So she's got the silver around there. Once that's done, let it dry completely, and then come in with Perfect Pearls. And the Perfect Pearls set that she used, I think, is discontinued, so I'm hoping that we're putting the correct one on the gallery, but if the new one that you can use, which would be the metallics, because it has a white. And the white is what was used from the other set. And you can start by just getting some of that Perfect Pearls, and you don't have to prepare this ahead of time.
I'm surprised by that.
Well, it's because you're going to spritz it with water afterwards, will make it set. So all you have to do is just start brushing it around. Well, that's what Susan did. She just started sort of getting you can see that it's sort of sticking immediately.
Wow.
It changes, and you can go in between the ornaments and around the edges of the ornaments. And you can use the small one to apply it, and the small brush. It comes with the set of Perfect Pearls. It also comes with a large brush, and you can really start to get it around those open areas like that. Once you have it all over, just so you have this nice little glimmer, then you spritz it with a little water. So that's kind of a fun look.
And that'll hold it on, huh?
Yes.
Okay, so back to this, more Stickles in the swirls. Boy, those swirls really pop, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
And this is on the Fresh Frost 6x6 paper pack. And just really a gorgeous, gorgeous look. And I'm looking to see inside using the same papers and the same technique with the Stickles, more dazzles, of course, just to make that easy. Just a stunning card.
It is. It's beautiful, and I love that the all blues, the tone on tones is just gorgeous.
Now, if you want something with a bit more color, here we go. Now, we're jumping out of only the red and green. Certainly red and green's there, but this brown is a really larger area of that card.
It is, and it really sets off the greens and the blues on there. Those are just, they're like little Scandinavian ornaments that way.
Let's get in closer.
Very highly decorated. Even with that sort of that sketchy rustic brown in the background, I just love that.
So Scandinavian sketchy rusty. Okay, gotcha. Look at that.
Rustic.
With the heart. Wow, very fun.
I know, that's a really cute look. I like the combination of Stickles and the heart jewel dazzles too.
Right.
That's just beautiful. And regular jewel dazzles in there. Jewel border dazzles. Hey,
yeah.
Whatever you have laying around. I know you have lots of jewel dazzles.
Okay, so you're going to bring in something?
Right, I've got the embossing folder, I've got white cardstock, and I've got dark brown fluid chalk ink. And just to sort of talk you through this, I'm not going to actually do it. I'm just going to, on the silk screen side in this case, because you want this to be the background, and this is the part that presses into the background of your paper. You take a pretty good, a well-inked, dark brown fluid chalk ink pad, and you brush it all over this. You make sure it's nice and brushed on there, and then you run it through your machine. After you've placed it in here, you run it through, and that's how it creates the background that you see.
And so
there.
what happens is the white area does not pick up the ink, but the recessed area does pick it up. So that's where you've got the white and the brown in one fell swoop, and then you can go in and do your embellishing. So the heart dazzles I showed you before, and we have jewel and border dazzles that match in all sorts of colors. In this particular case, you can see the border along the edge and the jewel ones on the inside. All of these have a gold edge.
Right.
So it's
and I believe this is this with the new Winter's Garden paper pack?
I believe it is.
So it looks that way.
Yes.
It's a very fun new Christmassy paper pack.
It is. Okay, so you've seen many, I wish I would have counted them, probably 6 techniques with
already
these 2.
Right.
Now we're going to go into our holly
Stencils.
tapestry. Yes.
6x6 stencils. They're nice thin stencils, but they are heavy duty enough to withstand to lots of work, and it's just an overall beautiful holly and berries and swirls.
And show you that there is a project on the back, and here is that project. And I hope you're sitting down, because this is just drop dead gorgeous. Look at that.
That is beautiful, and this was done with the glitter emboss or the texture paste.
Right.
The
sparkle texture paste.
The sparkle texture paste. It was done with green.
Looks like this.
And then it was accented on those little berries with the red silk glitter.
Okay.
So it's super fine glitter, and you're going to put that right onto the embossing paste. So once you set your stencil down, so
you know, one thing about setting that stencil down, it's sitting on the black suede.
Right.
Now, that black suede is giving you that super saturated color that's allowing the texture embossing paste to really shine.
I use black suede a lot. I've got a stack of it at my desk, and I use it because if I want something to pop, I want it to show on camera, I'm definitely using the black. It really works well. And you can get it pretty thin. You can use one of our new palette knives to move that texture paste across there, and just
simply
make sure
spread
you're
it.
Spreading it across make it move right on top of that stencil, so you're getting a thin layer. Then when you pick it up, you can just take something small and lay down some of that red silk glitter just right onto the berries and sort of move it on a little bit.
Now, I also noticed that these dots are gold.
Oh, so I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
I'll bet that was the gold. There's a gold glitter as well.
I bet it is.
Okay, and those dots are part of the stencil.
Just stunning.
Just beautiful.
And easy to do. I mean, I like that. Now, we did add the poinsettias, and we have these poinsettias from Petaloo are new this season, so we've got them in the large and in the mini sizes.
And those are lots of fun. They're paper, and they're just unique. They're real kind of crinkled up corners. And then I love the glitter, and that's from our new glitter ribbon set.
This is the glitter velvet ribbon, and we did have a combination of, I believe it's 10 or 12 different colors put together in a package because we just love this. And by the way, all of this shimmer, shine, and glitter, none of it is going to transfer to your fingers or your clothes or your face.
It doesn't come off. It stays on there. There's ink on my finger, but not glitter. And then I think this is from the new Christmas greetings pack. It's a 3-pack, so you get 3 different finishes with those.
And this happens to be the black one. Isn't that stunning? Even in just
a little strip of it like that. It hasn't been
Gorgeous.
matted or anything.
Gorgeous.
It's just sitting there on its own. Beautiful.
Now, a very different look is this one.
Entirely nice and bright.
Nice and bright, and this is going horizontally and just using a portion of that overall stencil.
Right, and that's done with the Perfect Airbrush and Spectrum Noir pens.
And the Perfect Airbrush looks like this. It is a handheld and hand-operated airbrush.
The box looks like that, and the brush looks like this.
There you go.
And I've got cardstock here. You want to use a craft sheet for this for sure. I've got a couple of Spectrum Noir pens, both of which came from the green set. So these are alcohol pens, and I've got that stencil. I'm just going to lay it over it. I could tape it down. I'm not going to worry about it right now. And with the Perfect Airbrush, it has an insert with a little screw that keeps that insert in place. For Spectrum Noir pens, I remove that insert, and then I use the pens. I think I'll start with the light green, and I always use the chisel end.
Right, the bigger end.
And when I place it in, I want this to be sitting just like so over the edge of that airbrush. So
the air is going over the pen.
Across the wide length of that pen like that. And then you always have to sort of play with it, adjust it until you get it just the right way. I usually have a piece of, I'm just going to test it on the craft sheet, but I usually test it to make sure that it's coming out the way that I want it. You can have more or less spray. Now I'm going to place this and pull it up and just start spraying. And you can see that green coming on, and you can get it real saturated, or you can do a light spraying. And after you do a little bit of the green, so definitely want to get some of those leaves kind of filled in. Then you change pens. I'm going to leave that stencil there.
And I'm not going to touch it.
No, don't touch it. It's fine. And then you move on to the green.
To the darker green.
Right. I'm testing it off to the side here. Yep, got a little bit. And I want it not too much. I just sort of want a little bit of accent. So I'm just letting a little bit of those dots. I'm going to try not to get big blurbs on
You know, I think it's hard to do a little bit. I always feel like I want to have it so it's really there, but
it is
that's
there.
not the best way to do it.
Even in the little, even in the light areas, but it's a little bit darker,
Very
a little bit
pretty.
lighter. It's really surprising how beautiful. You know, when this is sitting there and you're using this big honking brush thing on here, it it doesn't seem like, oh, that's kind of a weird thing, but it looks so delicate afterwards.
It does. Very pretty, and exactly right there. Also, very fun to see the jewel dazzles in the center of the berries, or raspberries.
Yeah, very simple
pretty.
to add those on there. I really like that look. It just gives that little bit of sparkle that's needed.
And then you did some stamping at the bottom, spread the cheer, and then on the inside, again, another strip and more stamping and a little scattering of jewel dazzles over there. So very, very pretty. Now we're going to move to our Swirly Christmas tree. And this, as you can see, obviously has 3 elements.
Right.
So let's see how
nice
we can
big
play with
focal
those.
We've got, even though it's still a 6x6 stencil, it's got that large focal. It's got this swirl with a star and a big, beautiful Merry Christmas.
And the sample on the back is the one I'm about to show you, but it's so much prettier in person. And you can see that giant tree. And this one is getting us not only the green, but some gold highlights. Very pretty.
It is beautiful.
So that's the tree. This is the star and the swirl. That's together.
The tree. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say a little bit of the swirl on the corners.
Oh, I like that. So just placing the stencil just off the edge of the corner like that, and you can get a treatment just for your corners.
And what about the Merry Christmas, you might be saying? Well, there it is on the inside with the swirl again. Okay,
beautiful.
Now you're going to talk to us.
Simple to do on craft cardstock.
Okay.
I've already done it, and I used Distress ink. So this one was Mowed Lawn Distress ink, and you place the stencil right on top of there. I think I have it the correct way. And you can use, let's see if I can, I don't know if it matters.
Yeah.
I used Distress ink and a sponge, a cosmetic wedge.
Okay.
And you just sponge it through there, and once that's done, it dries pretty quickly. You remove the stencil. Well, actually,
no, you want to keep it down.
Yeah. So this would have been, I didn't actually create the card. I'm just doing the sample for you, so I'm sort of running through my mind of how that would. There. So once it's lined up, then you get out. Yes, please. Then you get out your Inka Gold, and with Inka Gold, you don't want to put your fingers in there. We've discovered or heard from the manufacturer that it's best not to contaminate it with your fingers. So just use a wedge, or you can take out a little bit and put it on your craft sheet. Get some of that Inka Gold and just add some highlights.
So that's what's done the highlights, is the Inka Gold.
So don't do it all over. Just move around and get it in different areas. I don't really know where it was done on the card, so I'm just going to
just all over.
Get a little bit more. So a little bit in different areas.
Now there's a teeny tiny star at the top of that, but there's also the larger star.
Right, the large star you see here, and that was actually placed over the top and totally gone over in Inka Gold. But let's just see those highlights.
So there you go. So you can see those highlights, and just like so, just
very
hitting
simple
it
to do.
And on the finished one, exactly the same, just in more areas. And this has been done with the Inka Gold for the star, but with Stickles over on the swirl. and Stickles on all of those little dots.
So a nice light green of the Stickles on there. That's beautiful.
Looks like a little bit of inking on the edges of this. I think it's interesting to think about a craft color.
Right.
I don't know that that would have been my go-to, but I do like the tones on it. And then inside, more of the ink gold here. So obviously you can turn the stencil over.
Right.
That won't work for Merry Christmas, as you can see, but that's right there onto the pattern papers.
But just beautiful. That is a really beautiful look. For some reason, I sort of envision using that stencil on acetate. So I can see using Versamark through the tree on acetate and heat embossing that. That would be beautiful.
Oh, that would be great.
It's a beautiful tree. It's just
gorgeous. Lovely. Now we have our Flying Santa is our last stencil. Again, 6x6, and as you can see, this one also has multiple elements. Joy to all. We've got Santa and the reindeer, and then we have this flourish of snowflakes,
which you don't have to use with Santa. You could any of these. You could mask them off, use some sticky notes, and just use part of it. Use part of Santa. You could use the Joy to All, obviously. So it's all about masking off the areas you don't want to use.
Right.
And of course, the idea on this one is what you're about to see.
Right. Here is the card. Now this is a larger card.
It is,
because Gail wanted to use the entire stencil, and turning it on point really gives that a bigger presence.
This makes an impact, and that's what I wanted to accomplish. But like I said, you can use parts of it or use it on a sideways card, and we'll see another sample.
Right.
But this was actually starting by setting down the stencil and inking it through with a distress ink, and that one I think was honey or something like that. Check the gallery. It's this beautiful yellow. It's sort of a spun honey or something like that. For the edges. Well, not just the edges, for the entire stencil.
Okay.
I went through the entire stencil with
the
that
yellow?
ink. Yeah, placed the stencil, went through it with the ink, and gosh, I thought here, now I've got it maxed off. I can't use it, but went through, did it all in that yellow color, and even in the background, I sort of moved it around. You can use a stylus for that or a sponge, and kept it in place. And then, if you get in close to the reindeer, you can really see it. I used the Perfect Airbrush with Spectrum Noir pens, to get a little bit of red on there, and that really helps it to pop. So you're getting, and I used much more on Santa than I did on the reindeer.
Clever woman.
So that's fun. And we're not done. Then I went around with a pen. You have to make sure it's dry. Then go around with your fine tip pen and trace it to really make it pop.
All of that is leaving the stencil in place.
In place the entire time.
Make it easy on yourself. And you did the same thing on the Joy to All?
That's right.
And that was cut out using one of the design toolkits that is in the gallery.
And this does have an inside.
It does have an inside, and it's going to open sideways. And for some reason, it's stuck.
Sometimes
okay, I know what happened.
Yeah, this
I should tell you, when John is taping or photographing some things, he puts little tiny pieces of wax on it so it stays nice and flat. And so that's why it wasn't opening easily. Thank you, John. And then here again, on point, taking that square and turning it on point. What a giant greeting.
Isn't that beautiful?
So fun.
It's just beautiful. Okay, so that is not from the stencil. So this was computer journaled. Yeah, I'm remembering it now. It was computer journaled.
It's all coming back, is it?
And you've got all of that inking and a little bit of the spritzing too.
How pretty on the background.
Right.
Very pretty.
So you would have done design toolkit, whichever one I used.
Yeah, whichever one. It's really good.
A Christmas one or something like that, maybe.
And with the wide crepe as well on the front. So just a gorgeous look. We do have one more Flying Santa.
Okay. This is a totally different look.
Totally different. And this is using acetate. So
it's using acetate. It's got embossing paste, black embossing paste on the front. So you can do that.
Actually, this is the black glossy, I think, embossing paste.
Black glossy embossing paste. I wanted to mention, now that was done for this. It was also done for the Joy and the To All up here, and after it was the embossing paste was spread on there, this was sprinkled with the silk microfine glitter.
Wow.
To get that red.
Wow.
Right. And
On black.
On black, on top of the
Really?
black. Another way to do
Wow.
all of this that you see on the front, I was thinking, was Versamark and embossing powders. We've got every embossing powder color and glitter
Yeah.
that you want, so that's another way to do it.
I'm really shocked that that was done on black,
Isn't
but
it cool?
there's the proof of the pudding.
Yeah,
See, it's
that it was
black
done
on the
over
back.
It sticks on there nicely.
Gorgeous.
It's because it's so fine, that glitter. But the background, once you get to that,
Yes.
that
Wow.
is just phenomenal.
Talk about a starry night.
And around here, we're doing just about anything we can do to find ways to use color burst more and more.
Because we like it.
And so we like it a lot. And that one, here's the color burst. It's the indigo. That is one color of color burst.
Yeah, but look at all the colors within it. And that's what's fun
Yeah.
about the new 6. They have that element.
Yes.
All of them are
We have
mixes.
new colors. We're going to start. Here is
Oh, you're
the
gonna
color
demo,
burst.
huh?
Oh, this one just deserves it.
Yes.
We've got this great stencil, and here I've masked off everything else. I'm just using the swirls.
Those are Post-it notes.
Those are Post-it notes, and I'm going to get this down into the corner,
Right.
which is about right there. And then I'm going to take that color burst, and I'm going to have handy a water spritzer, and we're going to poof it. You know, I'm going to move this to the center of my craft sheet so we don't
Okay.
get it all over the place.
Thank you.
And the way you poof this out of the container is to just, let me hold it down first, just turn it over and tap the bottom.
Right, not the side,
Not the side.
bottom.
Mm.
And again, just like many of the things we've talked about in this webisode, you're not trying to saturate the color. You're just getting some of those little sprinkles on it.
Right. As
How
I'm
you doing?
this. Here, hold this. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so tap
Sort
it
of
firmly.
taps it, and you want to make sure that you're getting it around onto those swirls in between. It's sort of getting hung up inside. Like,
Is that one?
I don't think there's a lot in the bottle, so it's not tapping.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying.
You're trying.
I really wanted to show you what this looks like. But I think maybe it'll work even if I think I moved the stencil a little bit too, so just get some of it around one of the little areas. Come on, little bottle. Okay, let's see. When we spritz it, then I leave it in place.
Oh,
and
you leave it in place.
Leave it in
Ah.
place to spritz it through the stencil because you want it to show up through. Now, see, you see that you didn't see anything on there
Right.
at all.
And now you do.
I was really worried that it wasn't going to, and then just a little bit. You want it to go just through the stencil. Then, okay, now you can see that it sort of did its trick. Then you lift. And there you go.
Okay. You were worried, weren't you?
I was very worried that it wasn't going to work, but afterwards, Debbie went over, she did that in one corner, she did it in the opposite corner, and then she went over and just added a little bit more, as much as you can see
Now
on
you're
there.
not tapping.
I'm not tapping, I couldn't get it to, there we go.
There we go.
She added a little bit more, and so that she
Oh.
could get more in the background, and then spritz it again, and then you get a background effect as well as that.
Interesting.
As well as
Interesting.
that foreground effect, which would be the stencil.
And therein lies the magic.
There you go. Work with it a little bit.
Yes,
and that's what you
gorgeous.
get.
Okay, I hope that we have made our case that embossing folders and stencils, I need those stencils,
Yes.
are going to provide you with such versatile tools at such affordable prices.
For great Christmas cards, which are really going to wow everybody with these techniques.
They'll say, how did you do that? And you say, oh, it was nothing.
Oh, yes.
Or else you'll say, I labored for hours, whichever one you want.
I did it for you.
Please join us tomorrow for our last day of this week of webisodes. We'll see you then.
Okay.